Riddle is on the upper bracket of the teams that are tied at 7 wins, like somebody, yes, absolutely pops off.
But my biggest worry for them is one individual in the mid lane on JDXL.
A little bit close to yet another kill for M&S. He's, I think Avinail's playing with fire here. He gets
he's
hit.
dead. Surely he's gone. Another
Solo kill for M&S.
For the weeping as M&S is still playing Haunter.
No! Not again!
It's 3 solo kills.
What is this? You can't keep doing this.
He is a solo kill machine. It's the solo kill machine M&S. My God, there's blood everywhere.
Look at the teleport behind. Fatachan needs to be afraid. That's Alib coming in, but it's not a Mega Gnar. And that means Viking in a dangerous position. But the baby cage is good. It prevents Slowq from getting a bit further in. In goes MC, gets a massive chunk onto backland. And look at Kex running down the rest. It's a triple onto Fatachan, who survived everything else and somehow, some way.
Also, they are 500 goals shy of that.
Oh, you want this?
We'll get a call the forward court. It's a 3v1. Kryze might be in trouble here. Does get knocked up and about to turn it around. Azator. Whoa! No!
What?
Do not get a kill in a 1v4 like that, Kryze.
He just did.
Welcome back to the match of the week. It is JDXL versus Riddle. This could be it or do for JDXL. If they lose this one, they might be out of the top seeds.
Yeah, and that's actually a really dangerous prospect for them now because, again, we've talked about the stakes of top 2 going to that juggernaut match, the upper bracket finals. That gives you such an extra ability to develop, come in, go for that really top best of 5, and then have the extra life to play with and hopefully get yourself an EU Master spot.
Very importantly, Bifrost won the game. So XL right now are literally 1 point right underneath them. They need to equalize the score because their head-to-head with Bifrost is 2-0, but they need to be tied up. Now, Riddle is our last team that has entered the playoffs. Bifrost and X7 have a pretty easy way today. X7 playing Astralis later on. Bifrost completely dismantled Singularity as well. So XL now are left with the most difficult task, which is beating Riddle.
Riddle, what do they win from this game? That's the idea. Pushing JDXL down. That's exactly what they can do. And that is a message they can send for JDXL to begin the playoffs. If you pick me, I've done it once, I can do it again.
If they beat XL here, and X7 wins later, they push XL down to 3rd place, which means that XL could very well pick them in their best of in playoffs to take revenge.
That's what I was saying, yeah. That's the message, like, okay, you can pick me. I brought you down, you can pick me, but I already beat you. Do you want to do it again?
Exactly.
It is a message.
And I think the very difficult thing is actually, as much as if Riddle do win today and you think, oh, so it's a best of 1. It's just the thought in the back of your head. It's a proof of concept that they can win against a team like this. Because, I mean, XL have actually dropped a couple of off games now. Now, they've played it close to the wire. They have had some picks which haven't worked out. And maybe they could have played out the early game in slightly different ways to give them a bit more lifeline on those games. But either way, you don't want to give that seed of doubt.
Yeah, and the thing that worries me the most is that if they do end up picking Riddle, if it is XL, if they do end up picking Riddle, and not even Riddle, like any team who's going to face in a best-of scenario XL, the heck do you do with mid lane, man? Like, because in a best of 5, it depends. In a best of 5 or a best of 3, M&S can bring out so many champions, but the good thing between these teams is that Slowq can do the same. He has a lot of melee AD champions, he has an AD range champion, he has traditional mages, assassins. Slowq is pretty much a mirror image of M&S as well in our league.
And I think he's stepping up. Every single week, we see Slowq improving, getting better in the mid lane. So this could be one of the matches that I would be looking for the most. Slowq versus M&S in this mid lane.
And it's, you know, it's a long way from the awkward Corki package. It's a long way from Slowq to actually not impacting the game that he
Had
wants
to do that, man.
Well, I mean, but it does. Actually, you kind of do, because it puts in context how much the player's grown. Because as we were saying earlier into the season, again, too much illiteracy in our region. We need to work on that reading comprehension there, JDXL. But either way, these players have come from a point where Riddle hasn't actually been performing well in the first half of that split. They've really brought it back for the second half.
There you go, the B1.
Yeah, that's the one, that's the one. Sorry, Namera. It had to be...
Oh my gosh. I see you too.
I was thinking they could favor the jungle and then a support or something like that, leaving the AD carry for the third pick. But obviously, MNS plays Aphelios in the mid lane, so do you really want to leave MNS open? Like,
and actually, the thing is, in that game, so that Aphelios mid game was a loss, but you go look back to that draft.
it was not because of the Aphelios.
It's not because of the Aphelios. And actually, Aphelios mid has been played by a couple of people over in Korean Challenger now. It's as well as the AP Kaiser in the mid. So MNS really ahead of the trends and the curves.
We did it first.
We did it. We had him here first. Don't take him from us. But what we see now is we see that there's a lot of ability to fire the Moonlight Vigil forward, fire the Hecarim forward. But if you don't have something to protect yourself from the Carpet of Doom now, that Rumble is going to have a very happy game.
But it's not meta, you know, and there's some
You know what though? One of the things that really hurt Rumble and took him out of the jungle was the fact that they gutted his armor. And in this particular patch, he has been buffed back up. His
A little bit, yeah.
His armor was a little bit buffed. The main armor that he has in his kit, so he can easier maneuver himself around the jungle. And also Hecarim doesn't really like confrontation in the early stages. So Rumble gets to the level 6 by the time Hecarim's to the level 6, and it's like, cool, I am a second Gangplank, and now you have to think Camille that can lock somebody in, Gangplank that can zone out the Aphelios, and we have. So Kryze has played the Akali before.
So there is that, but like going back to the Rumble thing, I think they picked it too early. I think that now you've allowed the Akali to come through. What happens if you have to face against a Camille as well? If you,
Diana was also open.
Sure, there's lots of picks. That, which is the kind of thing. Rumble wasn't going to get banned here. You could have picked up something which was a safer blind pick in its own way. I love the fact that Rumble's been picked into the Hecarim. That's great. As you were saying, it's more like the Jhin Zhao and the Lee Sin, which really mess with that Rumble. But with this, it feels like there aren't enough immobile carries to punish with your ultimate because the Akali's been locked in. You're only targeting that Aphelios.
Or you're top lane.
But
or you play Rumble top lane.
I mean,
Huni is a Rumble connoisseur. We know this.
Well, the person who's been playing it Shanji from OMG, but they did that earlier in the season, but you're blind picking it there too. And if it's into the Akali, goodbye.
But you're not really flexing it. Ah.
Yeah, potentially. But you're on blue side, so there's going to be the last counter pick left.
So I think if the Akali ends up top lane, Rumble is more than okay playing into the Akali, especially in the earlier stages, which it doesn't.
You get solo killed straight out. Surely you do.
It's mostly about the bans in the top. They don't figure that the Rumble could go to the top. They're secure that this is going to be an MC pick. It is MC, AP,
I mean,
kind of rhymes, you know. It's the Rumble in the jungle. And then the Tahm Kench, so removing those supports away, what could help Aphelios as a support? I know, but I'm not going to say.
I mean, Thresh is unbanned.
Open, yeah.
I think Thresh is the pick you're looking at. Apart from that, you need something which can get Aphelios off of the Rumble ult. Now, that would have been the Tahm Kench that's banned away, so you really are left with just the Lantern.
The problem here is if you pick Thresh and they pick Camille, does your Aphelios feel safe? So I feel like with the Alistar lock in here, you actually have a chance of if a Camille does jump in the back, and if the Rumble ult lands on top, you just break the Camille ult and allow your Aphelios to flash away if he has the summoner available. So I do like the approach here also with the Alistar. I see the Thresh, but if they do lock in Camille right here, it gets a little bit dangerous.
So I think they've had to pick something which... so again, this isn't going to be the best thing for the Aphelios, but I think it is going to be a fine to have a dive buddy with your Hecarim, because Hecarim diving alone is not that great.
Hey man, you forget the Akali?
But that's true. No, that's true. That's true. Actually, that's a very fair point. But either way, anything which can augment your dive is definitely something you want to go towards. However, now you've got the Rumble and the Sylas.
I don't know if you can hover against Kryze.
Okay, so we do have the Rumble into the jungle now, so it is going to be, of course, that GP up on the top side, but you've left blind pick to a solo laner now.
Right. What can you go here? You can go with Camille if you want to. You're gonna choose to go with the Jace. So I like this from the perspective of if the Shock Blast do land, if you get unscuffed out of the laning phase and the Shock Blast do land, you get a pretty easy segue into the backline. You throw the Hecarim, you throw the Akali, you throw the Alistar, and somebody instantly dies. The only problem is that you have locked in 3 very strong carries, and on the other side there's a Flaming Carpet, Sylas, a Gangplank, a Jinx. Oh, they're gonna play Jace mid, okay.
That's the thing. That's what I was picking up, and I'm like, This is another unique champion for M&S, and you know what? It's damn good at level 1. Silas does not want to trade with the Jace. Silas is not like, you know what? Hands off. Let's teleport back to lane at some
versus
point.
Reigns anyway, yeah.
but then particularly against Jace, that fights him so hard at level 1, takes control of that wave. You don't get to like get an early level 2 level up and then brawl around that. I think that's a very good switch around. I think both those solo laners are happy with themselves.
Every single time Silas comes to you, like, yep, get out.
I will stick to what I said, where I'm like, if the shock blast lands, big if there, then the Hecarim, the Akali can dive into the backline, try to kill someone. But on the other hand, you've got 3 squishy carries for XL, and you have a Sylas, a Rumble.
Silas stealing an Akali ult and stealing a Hecarim ult. Those are
Hecarim ult,
nasty.
that's the one.
I'm actually really excited.
On Alistar, wait, did you?
Yep.
No, the Alistar's on XL. I'm really excited.
Oh no, but that's a Sylas ult to steal.
Yeah, you can steal a lot of ultimates for this. Sylas from one side, Riddle wants to send a message. From the other, JDXL want to sit at the top of the throne. Are they allowed? We don't know. We'll know soon enough. So after to the castle desk, we have Initialize with Goldberg.
I am
Hello there.
so ready for this game. So much on the line, and you were very happy with one of the points made earlier on the analyst.
I was just like, listen, you mentioned these champions. Look at the Alistar. It's just like, it's so
Such a
broken once you hit the
clean
team
Sylas
fights. But yeah, for sure. What do you have to say?
I mean, I was just saying it's very interesting drafts. We've got Rumble in the jungle for MC again. It's a 1-on-1 record right now. We've got M&S on Jace, another unique.
I mean, it's interesting because the Jace into the Sylas, you for sure just needs to survive laning phase. Like, it's such a difficult laning phase to get through. He's going to be needing a lot of help. For a lot of Riddle, it's about getting out of lane. It's about finally being able to pull up the fights yourself with some of your reliable engages. Because Gangplank, yes, he can put himself in a good situation, but if he falls stuck behind the Akali, well, all of a sudden he's going to be struggling on side. Mid lane, if you fall behind the Jace, you're going to be struggling. Alistar, it's nice and refreshing seeing this champion again. I don't think it's a champion that can be blind picked. I still think that it's the worst level 1 in the game. You'll just be slow pushed in and they'll set up a dive on you. But into the Leona, don't really mind it. And it's a great against the likes of Jinx, especially when you already have the Akali and when you have the Hecarim as the desk we're mentioning as well.
Completely agree about the Alistar level 1. Unless you're going for like really aggressive flash plays, you're a little bit
that's the thing. And then you have to win level 1 with the ADs. But yeah, for sure.
Exactly. That said, we have got to keep an eye on stakes. We've got a little bit of time before we go on to the Rift. So I do want to take this moment to remind people exactly what is on the line here for XL. If they win, they can still compete for second. They need X7 to win after that, and they lock second. The difficulty, the caveat, the fly in the ointment is, of course, that Bifrost have got a head-to-head record against X7 and are already currently tied at the same record with X7. So, if X7 lose their match and you end up with a 3-way tiebreaker, the way it all plays out is that with the various ways of breaking those tiebreakers down, XL end up in third. They need to win this. They need X7 to win their game after for them to win. Very, very important game for them.
Yeah, that's the thing, and it's just about win, as it always has been for all of them. And then afterwards, it all comes down to X7. X7 will really be the decider of the day for these standings moving forward to playoffs.
And they've kind of 1-2 over the last 2 weeks right now. They could go into 2-2. There's been some unfortunate stuff for X7 because honestly, on Monday they were far and away ready to win that game. They were 11,000 gold up, Baron, Elder, Soul. Like that game should have been done. They managed to hide the Renata ultimate through the breaking of a Nexus tower to catch both the Jace and the Jinx for both Jaeger and Nato, who then basically end up killing their own team effectively.
I'm always happy about seeing my Renata out there, getting these finicky situations working for them, getting the Elder Drake. We saw it again today as in LCK as well. Nautilus auto attacks also root your teammates. Like there's just so many interactions out there, which are incredibly fun to watch, but we'll stay with what I said. Not the best laning phase pick. It can for sure be punished, but once you get outside of the lane, that's where it starts becoming really difficult. But Renata was banned this game. We don't get to see her just yet.
I'm sorry for you.
Unfortunately, well, not as sorry as us for the other individuals and our colleagues.
Our crowd is still very, sad on the inside. On the outside as well. He's not exactly been subtle.
I went into the green room and I just saw...
breaking down.
I just saw Artrum sitting there in the chair crying.
Yeah, it was awful.
Looking at a picture of Jeppe.
Yeah, just like that disappointment.
Exactly.
He'd crossed out the eyes, thrown some darts at it.
It's not a good sight, so come on. Please
So
make
offer
it
him some support.
Pantheon.
Exactly.
Make it work for him.
Playoffs now, guys. That's where it really matters.
Yeah, they'll do it in the final. That's the real
M&S
twist.
Pantheon mid. I'm telling you.
Oh my God.
Gorak, I know you're listening.
With
I know you're listening.
finals.
Well, we've got to see whether they can get that. Reminder, of course, the reason their upper bracket is so important, those top two spots are so important. You get an extra life. It's an upper bracket. You win that Juggernaut match, you go straight to the finals, And not only do you get the chance of winning the split, but you immediately lock in European Masters. We only have 2 seeds, and it is the 2 teams that go to the final. So huge benefit to ending up in that upper bracket. And XL eyeing that one up. But Riddle can still play spoiler. They've got a draft that can do it. We've said what the Silas can do with the incredible ultimates he has to steal between Hecarim, Perfect Execution, from the Akali, the Unbreakable Will from the Alistair. Like, that's like smorgasbord of Silas hijacks there.
Yeah, there's so many different options for him there, so I think it's important for slowQ to be adaptive on the fly and see which ultimate fits which situation the best. Both bot laners will be leashing their junglers. They'll be hitting the bot lane at the same time. Normally see Leona getting a bit more priority, has the center play to threat with if she wants to. Alistar as well can knock opponent AD carry away with the W, preventing them from auto-attacking the waves. But Jinx, obviously with that Q, will just be able to do AoE damage and push it in beforehand, landing a little crash. Mid lane going pretty much as we expected, and honestly surprised slowQ haven't been more trimmed down so far. He's actually doing a decent job at getting this done. Eminus does hit level 2, but this is going to be a matchup that's pretty much in control of Eminus the majority of the time.
Yep, will be the range into melee. Jace's early laning power is well known. Got to see, of course, what they can get done with it. Both MC and Dan on level 6 junglers in a lot of ways. You want to get the equalizer, you want the onslaught of shadows before you really start making aggressive, close plays. Unless if you find an easy gank, that's very different. But no, actually, if it's going to be even fights where everyone knows what's going on, you want those big ticket ultimates. So not going to see too much out of them early. It's just going to be the race to level 6. And that then leaves me with the question of what are you expecting out of this early game, considering both junglers kind of have a hard farm kind of priority?
Oh yeah, I mean, they're definitely waiting for 6, and then it's about who can be proactive with it. I mean, Dan do have a little bit more to work around with just because he'll have the Ghost, he'll have the dash back with the E. But it's definitely about stabilizing solo lanes, I feel like, at least from Riddle's side, to make sure that slowQ gets out of this laning phase alive. Because remember, them getting ahead in the early game doesn't matter as much. It's about hitting those team fighting spot later into the game. You want items on GP, you want items on Jinx. I mean, she's so incredibly broken right now, as we've seen multiple of times. And now talking about stabilizing, Eminus getting caught off.
Oh, that's unfortunate, and considering how important this game is. Nukes is here as well to try and turn this into first blood that goes over to slowQ.
And that's a side we don't see often. And it's great run from Riddle. They crashed on wave 3, cheater recalled with Fatuchin, he picked up a call. Meanwhile, they had that downtime. Nukes just move off to the mid lane, gets a E down to Eminus as well from the Silas. And just like that, first blood Riddle against JDXL.
Great play, especially into a lane that was supposed to shove in. And it has done, in fairness. It's the teleport bony. Dimbony Summoners knew that he was kind of dead to right once that was come through. And he sees Nukes and he says, I can't go back to my tower. I've got to try and get out this way. Just lands the Abscond Duct.
Yeah, initially Eminus tries to park the phase rush so he can just walk out of there afterwards. But slowQ still manages to connect with the chain. And Flash doesn't come out from Eminus. He decides to save it, and just like that, he's dead.
17th unique champion for Eminus. This split, by the by. He's the only champion he's played more than once, I believe, is the LeBlanc. And that does mean that we're ended up with another pick in his inventory. But of course, hasn't worked out that well early on off that fantastic roam, that fantastic base timing, and it's one of the reasons why learning how to read resets is so important if you want to analyze League of Legends, if you want to be a good pro team in general. You need to work out what's going on as top side.
Igniter's come through.
I know, that's a big one, but Kex kind of gets away with that a little bit here. It's not going to come out too much further. He might get chased away from the wave, though.
Kex doesn't have TP either, so he's in a situation where he either individually outplays this or just stabilizes, or he'll need to call out MC, help him in with a push in, or just wait till Kryze no longer have kill pressure. But once Kryze reaches level 6, this might get a little bit dicey if the wave is in a bad spot for Kex.
Definitely couldn't. Well, we've been kind of calling out M&S as the solo kill king, kind of 2 solo kills a game as a minimum, it feels like, for that guy. Still the global leader in that, I believe. Kryze has been no slouch either. Has been a pretty consistent carry, even if sometimes we've had some questions about the split pushing. We know this guy can carry. We know this guy can play well on the Akali. Getting this kind of potential advantage here with burning through all those corrupting pots with the teleport already down is slightly dangerous stuff here for Kex as it continues, though he has managed to shove this wave in.
Movement is so mimic. Look at both these junglers. They know it's about the top side right now, and we talked about a bad wave for Kex.
Boy.
He needs help earlier from MC here.
Ghost, devastating charge coming through the walls into the bush, then it's coming on, but he's gonna have the cannon barrage that comes through just now. Cries out of danger, the Shroud comes down, flash on Kex. Can Dan catch up though? One final rampage slices down the Pirate.
And that's the difference, because Dan decided to ignore his Crocs, while MC decided that I need that Grump. And because MC went for the Grump, Kex was not able to punish it. It's miscommunication.
He's going to wait in this bush, though. Remember, there's some Electro Harpoons.
Ryze has ultimate as well.
And of course, yeah, he doesn't kind of have that ultimate. Remember, that's so much damage. Just burns him down to a crisp. But that is horse steak in the jungle.
He can push in the top wave as well if he wants to. He decides to just let it stay even. And he still has the equalizer, so if Quais decide to recall down here, can literally just equalize him. Yeah, there you have it.
Over the wall with the Shuriken flip, but he's burned out quite a lot. Flash for the Electro Harpoon into the Shroud, trying to try this one out. So many tower shots. Perfect execution come through here as well. Not quite. But even with the scrap shield, Cries gets the solo kill.
That's awkward. That's a Yikers. And with the jungler down, bot lane with the priority decides they'll just solo up the Drake together, or rather duo the Drake. And first objective goes over to the side of JDXL very early as well.
Lane priority gained bot. Great little play there from Christ to outplay, honestly, onto that target. I thought once the equalize came down, that should have been a dare to Kali, but well played initially from MC to get around the vision and punish Dan.
Well, they just don't expect him. Like, he knew he sweeped the ward. He knew that someone might be around there, but
Genius.
Still ups into it. Knows Christ is too low to join, and yeah, there you have it. MC just mopping down Dan right here. Hits level 6 off it as well. This is where he starts getting a little bit greedy. I feel like if you're playing this one a little more patient, perhaps try to stop him with the harpoon first, save the equalizer for afterwards, wait for Kex to come back around, maybe it works.
Yeah, we have to leave that replay because we've got to play in bot. Onslaught of Shadows sends nukes into the grave. Not the best headbutt pulverized conversation I've ever seen because Kikis miss at the pulve. Just force Fatachan away and he does get out alive, but that got a bit close and MC can continue chasing forward. Not quite got equalized, but it's now up. Does land it. Forces Kikis to burn down. Medium rare. Zamalek being chased out as well. So Mega Death Rocket not quite up, but the zap is flashed away from.
Yeah, Sam hits a minion as well, but Samuel, he has to respect it. And MC, I mean, both junglers really, they're just dancing together. They're moving around at the map at the same time. Great knock-up there, actually. Can't believe that hit nukes at the same time. And then they fancy themselves a fight. They realize that JDXL might have stepped too far forward, but just like that, Dan is able to join the fight as well with MC being Harris at the same time. And yeah, it's unfortunate.
Tried to go for the flash headbutt pulve, went for flash pulverized headbutt instead, and then that does lead to the equalizer coming off cooldown. And then Kikis, you can smell the sirloin from here.
Oh, Fatachan did have flash as well if he wanted to try and get up and be dicey with it, but decides to try and opt in for the sap instead. Either way, that's still brilliant for Riddle. And I wanted to have a look at this before the top lane fight earlier broke out. It's actually the fact that AD carries right now really favoring Fatachan in this lane just by the farm in itself without being influenced by the junglers. He had a 10 CS lead as well. And despite Samuel having picked up a kill now, it's still looking very good for the Jinx. The longer range to play around with once we come into that mid game is going to be super nice. And if you can continue like this, it's going to be brilliant. But Riddle, they moved in with a rotation where they can secure the Herald for themselves. They push in bot, move Fatachan into the mid lane. But now they're losing out plays on the bot side. But luckily, Samuel doesn't have the best gun in his weapon selection.
Now, see what Gravitum turns into once he burns through it. If that should be chakrams if he's managed his weapon rotations correct. So we'll see whether that is true. In that case, this tower will start dying a lot quicker. Am I right? Nope. No, he's got Infernum. Okay, he's messed up his rotations just slightly, so he'll have to try and clear through this best he can. Of course, my knowledge of Felios weapon rotation order is still a little limited, so I do apologize to anyone who is a Felios aficionado who can tell me I'm wrong. But as it stands, only going to get the 2 plates, but Fatachan and Nukes are back down here to try and defend. Herald did go to MC, of course, while that was all happening.
They had level advantage there as well on Riddle, where they could have gone for a play, but quite frankly, they don't have the vision around them to securely go for it. Therefore, Nukes decided to be a little hesitant. Did not in on them. Would have been prime targets though. Kikis hadn't hit level 6 yet, and there's no flash on Samulek. All they needed to burn was that cleanse, and there's multiple elements of CC Kikis with this roam.
But could be a little bit afraid because, of course, you can just steal the Unbreakable Will, and suddenly Silas is not really a gankable target anymore. M&S has quietly managed to garner himself a over 40 CS lead in mid, though, which is pretty hefty, even if it is ranged into melee.
Oh, most definitely. It's expected to at least be ahead, but being this far ahead, as you said yourself, even with a death, that's very impressive. 400 gold behind for Slowcube. Remember, for him, it was about surviving laning phase as well. He's still very much caught up in it, but in just 1 minute, we will have the Infernal Drake coming through as well. Potential fight up towards top side, though.
Cannon Barrage comes down. Kex trying to play it out, but he did miss the barrels. Perfect execution gets him in range. Shuriken flip, trying to play this one out, and we're into a pause.
Hey, that's us.
I can't believe it.
That's a break.
Find out next time on Dragon Ball Z.
Goodbye.
Who dies? Get back here.
Well,
You're like
time.
the advertising break. We've got to hold people here. Got to be entertaining. It's like Super Bowl adverts. What can we do to keep people around?
Oh, damn, I'm so bad at this. I'm just here to talk League of Legends as soon as
I
League
know
of
you are
Legends is on.
fantastic at coming up with skits. Don't you dare say that. What
Yeah, but that's when I have time to sit
on the fly.
down and kind of
Ideate with me. Come on.
You know, me and Nymera was talking about a skit about hiding in the LEC studio
I did
together.
hear about this one.
Where the other cast is trying to hunt us down.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, we're also filming with a goat yesterday.
I did hear there was a goat involved.
Yeah.
And blood.
No, don't mention that part.
Okay.
No, the goat did not get hurt.
The goat did not get hurt.
Yeah,
Goat's just-
that's actually the important part. The goat did not.
Watch for the goat.
Well, do you have anything else? What about you? You guys brought up the Star Wars skit back
I
then.
was going to do that one, but I've actually also just been told we've got a replay. So I'll talk about that skit after we've seen this, because this was the play that we kind of got frozen in the middle of, where Cries perfectly executes across the cannon barrage to try and secure the solo kill.
Thanks for putting the groovy music on it as well. Kex flashes into the bush, gets out of vision, gets the Q down, but it's just not enough.
Ooh.
It's going to be enough from Cries to pick up that kill. Very explosive matchup, and just right back at it for us. Sorry, what's your main again in terms of champions getting picked? I feel like all the others are crying about it.
Evelyn, I got that. I had mine.
Your champion, yeah. So we're actually waiting. Well, I've had one with Renata. We're just waiting for Katarina and von
Something
for
for
Pantheon.
exactly that.
Well, Troubles a support main now, so surely one of the picks is going to come through for her.
Given up on Katarina because she's not in a great space right now, apparently.
I know.
Let's talk to her about that.
Just not in a good spot right now. Where are you? No, I'm a Katarina main.
Katarina support. Coming to a game right now. Enough of this procrastinating, because we have some League of Legends to keep track of. There's the solo kill that came through in the top side we just saw in the replay, so that should bring us back to live. Cries with a solo kill. Can they get the super mega death rocket? Have they spaced it? Cries.
I mean, surely the communication came through, because Eminence quite literally dodged it. Now in the mid lane, though, still multiple members around Eminence.
Onslaught of Shadows just out of range, flashing in. Does get the turnaround with a sidejacked Onslaught of Shadows. Dan now in trouble. Equalizer comes through, and they've gone too deep, and the mid jungle is dead for XL. They can potentially chase on the Kickers, who still doesn't have level 6.
How the hell is Kick is still level 5 with Nukes being level 7?
That's just obscene. Slowq managed to get it, just outtimes the fear and overdive the Silas. Even if he's that far behind in CS, you get this kind of play.
And M&S did have to flash, but Slowq just engages with the chains before he gets the time to react. A nice stolen ultimate as well. Gets the shutdown on M&S. Able to pick up the upper kills. And I gotta say, MC on this Rumble has been phenomenal so far in terms of how he's piloted. Yes, there was that top lane dive, but outside of that, he's been great for his team.
The counter kills have been fantastic, and the fact Dan just shorts the Onslaught of Shadows, so Slowq can flash away, so M&S can't quite get the kill. Great stuff from the Silas.
And before this Drake gets taken, I feel like it's important we reiterate the stakes as well, Initialize.
Oh, yeah.
Because for JDXL, they might potentially be losing their top 2 if they lose this.
They lose this, they are third. There are no tiebreakers, there are no other situations. It's in the mid lane. M&S gets some vengeance, gets the solo kill. MC comes around, though, to make sure he pays for it.
Yeah, MC as well. On a shutdown now for the Rumble. Has even opted in for Dark Sail, potentially.
It's got Dark Harvest.
Potentially, we might even see Medjai's coming out throwing on top side as well. Feels like there's some little bit of brawling again. Rift Herald gets pushed away. Yep, Cries.
Our shot, and he can wait for some parlays here. And suddenly Cries is in a dangerous position. He's not got perfect execution. He needs to be really afraid about stepping forward. Are you sure? No flash available, no cannon barrage. So I think he's probably just about okay, but cannot control this wave anymore.
And in the mid lane, Rift Herald did not get charged either. Let's actually see what happened here in the mid lane, because it starts out with Slowq actually hitting the Everfrost, and then it's just pure Jace damage from M&S, and I do believe it's an equalizer that'll be layered down on top of her. Dark Harvest, you mentioned it. The burn is enough. Another kill for MC, and up in top lane, they're not done. They keep going.
Cries heal back up, but he's still got to think about maybe burning the teleport here. He's trying to keep it alive. You know he wants to be having that around about for things like a second Herald that could be coming up in relatively short order. now I think he might look for the reset at some point. With the Rift Maker in inventory, does have enough sustain right now to just about survive, but needs to be a little afraid. There are some barrels hidden around.
I love that none of them decides that, all right, let's go for reset. It's too risky. They both feel like they'll win out in this 1v1.
Go! Get into the Shroud. Cannon Barrage comes through, and that's the ultimate popped alongside the Ignite. Not going to quite take Kex down, but he needs to find his way into safety. A Parley might do the work required. Alcove Gaming as M&S is here. Wait for the Shock Blast. Artillery will not land there. It's a guessing game. Watch for the barrels. It's M&S who's the one who steps up to take it to keep Cries alive. That's a second kill for the Jace.
That is a second kill, but now push in mid lane, move down towards bot side, get some plating, or not plating, get a turret for Jinx, move the pressure elsewhere on the map. TP actually comes through in the mid lane, and this, yeah, they're just going to be sacking bot side. So while they get a kill on top side, there is a response for Riddle on the bot side instead, and getting Jinx ahead is very pivotal for them in terms of finding success later into the game.
It very much is, and yes, this GP has died 3 times now, but bluntly, he can do his... But what's getting you giggling right now? As MC's just being jumped on, shut down, we'll talk about you giggling later as MC dies to Cries.
It's just the way you set that up. It's just like, and yes, GB has died 3 times, and it just feels like you're, yeah, and yes, he's inted.
Yeah, like, okay, I was trying to be nice. I thought I'd miss something, it's just GP dying a lot, and it happens sometimes in this kind of matchup. As Kikis could be the spot of bother here, does have the Unbreakable, has to pop it, being slowed down, and Kex running up, trying to get himself some fry steak with the trial by fire, but instead has to back out, and this, yes, the GP has soft-ended a little bit with some dicey 1v1s that haven't gone his way, but he can still be just plain useful by throwing down the Cannon Barrage. He can do his job. As M&S might be punishing Nukes here. That is a 4-level discrepancy, but the Blast Cone allows Nukes to get out to safety.
Nukes getting some vision down here. Want to keep the intel off. Fatuchin pushing in topside. Now, with Slow Q in the mid lane, can try and push this in, move their pressure up towards the top side. You're no longer stuck in that situation where Kex is struggling in a side lane just due to the situation not being him against Akali any longer. But look at the vision control from JDXL right now. They'll have so much intel about where MC is moving around. So if they can respond as well to this pressure,
Dodges out on the Soul Flare as M&S. He's not got a flash quite yet. Nukes tower into the tower. Superman Death Rocket doesn't quite work out having to use the heal, but here's Kikis to run people away. Flash out under the tower. Gets knocked up and will go down to the tower. It is Kikis who picks the kill, though, not M&S.
my eyes! What just happened?
I don't know. MC is now going to have to try and get his way out of danger, but he's knocked away from the Blast Cone. Will knock down over the pit, but there's actually Cries here as well. And MC, I think he's just dead to rights. He's got no stopwatch, got no way out. And this Rumble is about to get jungled. Zamalek is there. He's going to throw out the Equalizer, trying to burn people. I just got off the healing. He just dies as Zamalek picks that one up. Second kill for him. And JDXL punished some slightly suspect plays.
And just like that, they'll be able to pick up the Rift Towel afterwards, and they stabilized a little bit. It was actually Riddle with a gold lead coming in before that play. Now, after that play itself, they're actually back to dead even. But with a Rift Towel, you suspect that the tempo advantage would go over to the side of JDXL. And there's also a Soul Point Drake coming up in just less than a minute. So we're in for action right now.
We very much are, and a lot of this gold lead intro, like, for what it's worth, it's not very much, it's only 100 or so, but there is a gold discrepancy right now for M&S in mid lane. Purely, it feels, because of this CS. Look how well M&S has been able to get some of that gold. He'll need to make sure he's utilizing it, though, because he's still dying a couple times. He's been attacked a fair amount, in fairness, but he's still going to be a danger. He's still going to be useful. And the other side is just Cries, 3-0-2, a terrifying Akali.
So how will Riddle actually attack it? Because they're posturing as if they want to.
Onslaught of Shadows did have to be burned, and that's a big ticket ultimate down before the Dragon, but the Equalizer was also popped. Nukes takes chunked, and he's just gone. Deleted, eviscerated from the Rift.
And now with the Equalizer down as well, I don't actually think there's a way that Riddle could get in here and try and contest it. Cries is getting feisty. He's got them on vision.
Oh my god, he just gets another. He's under the Shroud trying to play this one out as best he can, but MC is overheated, and he's about to be taken on to be a triple for Cries. Double overall now, but that's the Cannon Barrage trying to get him out. He's trying to show it. No way do you get that one and get out. That was just obscene.
1 versus 3. Cries just shows up. He had all the intel he needed for the situation to work, and he executed upon it. Riftel, they'll get mid lane turret. They can try and push for another. In the Drake pick, they're picking up another neutral objective. So much just went right for JDXL in that play.
He walks the line, but of course it's Akali. She can perfectly execute it. Cries 7-0-2, looking to make sure XL can still find their way to second in the regular split.
And it looked competitive. Just 2 minutes ago, it looked competitive. This time around, no, when you see plays like that,
Oh, God.
his spirit starts to, lessen a little bit as well. They still have the intel on Kex as well, so it's not even a mistake he's diving in here. He just fully knows that he can go for it. Even decides to stay around for the free 10 gold on the barrel before moving out of the cannon barrage.
Kex can press W as many times as he wants in chat or in game. There aren't enough oranges in the world to heal through that. Oh.
That's not only damage, that's emotional damage on top of that, and unfortunately, oranges are not the cure for that.
Well, you can only just sit there and cry. I mean, look at the guy's name. It's feeling more and more appropriate right now, the tears. Maybe beginning to start. He's going again. This is just a masterclass. Zamalek picks that one up, but it's all started by cries.
You're watching a master at work. Well, he's not even done. That's on the tower. Surely you can't do this.
He's not master, he's not grandmaster, he's damn challenger. It's feeling like right now. Kex does survive right now. Nuke's coming along to try and punish this. Solar Flare is there, and maybe we've overpraised him. Maybe he's in trouble to 1v3. He's got no flash, and the shutdown goes to the most important player. You can get it on Fatijam.
We were too hype about it. Cries were too hype about it, and he ends up paying for it. Shutdown, as you said, over to Fatijam. 2-2 on the Jinx, moving forward towards the third item. And still a potential win condition for Riddle playing around this AD carry, but they've lost the grasp of the game a little bit, but they're in reach of a 1k gold differential.
Unbreakable Will was hijacked. Slow Q now a behemoth of a player with that ability to him. Takes a big chunk. Equalizer comes through. M&S knocked up, but does get out. Also, the shadows will force the stopwatch, and that will now burn out the ultimate. Surely he's in trouble. Cannon Barrage comes through on a Kikis, who does have flash, may need to burn it. Here comes MC and the rest. Knocks Slowq over the wall. Kikis will go down. Nukes will secure another onto M&S, and somehow, somewhere, Riddle don't fall in that play.
Such a messy fight once again on the top side, but this time around it's Riddle who's coming out on top. And we mentioned it, we talked about it, the gold difference. It's now back to dead even between these two teams.
What was this play?
Such a messy play. And they wanted to go for a blue bluff skirmish. They wanted to just steal away camps, and they thought to themselves, okay, we can actually fight this. We're so far ahead. But it's such a split fight from JDXL. 3 members can't even join the Thray. Kikis, he's all by his lonesome. He thinks he can knock M&S over, or Slowq over to M&S to pick up the kill. But Slowq just barely stays alive, forcing Samulik to back off after the instance as well, because Jinx is just getting excited in this fight as well.
Call it out as well. MC was just about in range over the wall with the Flame Spitter to help roast down M&S. Otherwise, I think that was a dead Slowq, but it keeps the game even. They're still down Soul Point. They've still into a position where they've not got a lot of map control, but the more even it stays, the more gold you get into the backs pockets of someone like Slowq, of someone like Fatachan, who's getting closer and closer to an Infinity Edge third item, the more playable this game gets. Second item complete for Gangplank, who is still continuing to at least get items, at least get farm.
Riddle has obtained some topside control of their own jungle, but there's still good vision from JDXL blocking the entrances. You can see it from the mid lane just to ward outside. Pink ward and bush to the left as well, so despite Riddle's core blue side being pinked up, there's actually still a lot of intel going over to JDXL, which allows them to now push forward on the bot side, knowing a lot of members were just seen towards the top side. M&S lurking around.
Again, he's died a few times, but you can see how close some of these fights have been, where it's literally an auto difference often that's been the difference between M&S getting the kill and not. Unfortunately, this time for him and the rest of XL, it's not always worked out the way he liked, but he's still up a vast quantity of CS. He's still doing a lot of damage right now, and yeah, this is the way Jaces often end up. Like, you still get a 3 items, you still do the damage, and that's not the issue right now. MS is still going to do some work. It's just whether we can stay alive while he's doing it.
Oh, yes. But they can still just wait these 50 seconds for the Cloud. MC, you mentioned it. Equalizer comes out.
Gonna be a lot of damage from him. There's no flash. MS burned out in the last one. He's gonna be so much trouble. He's just dead. Surely he just gets burned down. And Down just backs him off. He leaves him alone. He's dead.
40 seconds for potential Cloud Soul as well for JDXL. M&S will barely be up for it. He will have to teleport, but if it started on spawn, well, then Riddle will have a favorable position. Even though this is a 5 versus 4, though, it's still JDXL pushing forward, collecting control of the red side jungle, leading into the Drake pit itself.
I wonder whether the reason Dan didn't burn the Onslaught of Shadows there is he knows that Drake Soul's coming up and M&S can teleport in, and actually the Equalizer was burnt. That's not going to be available at the start of this fight, even if it's going pretty low on cooldown right here.
Very close to. I think like just 10 seconds after the Drake has spawned, we'll probably have it off 15. And
this is a call.
That is definitely a call. TP's being invested as well. And I mean, they'll have to call it off immediately. They haven't controlled this from Vision.
They've got the ward in the river that will spot this out, but it was trying to pull JDXL from their position around Dragon. It buys time for equal.
Never works. This play never works because the opponent who's nearing a Drake is just going to be setting one member to solo it, while the rest of the members are stopping the others from starting up the Baron. So, yes, you can walk in here. I don't think it's going to matter much for Riddle. They're doing it either way.
Thinking about it, they've got control of the river at least. 2 items complete across the board right now for Riddle, but it's pretty much the same deal for XL. In fact, M&S, despite 2, 6, and 2, has got 3 items in his inventory, in fact, and he's going to get onto inhibitor towers here.
And no one's really around to stop him just yet. They're coming in now. Equalizer is up if they want to chase down, but look at that movement speed. That is Phase Rush together with the accelerated gate.
Together with Cloud Soul. Guy's just a rapid monster right now the moment he changes form.
That may have been the one, actually. You're probably right. Good call.
All
now, it's only going to be about setting up for the Baron now. You already have the Soul. You just want to bait in Riddle currently, and then you just want to pile down on them. You have a Fed Akali that can take care of the Jinx. And for Riddle, it's all about peeling the Jinx. You can play around Fastuchin, maybe you can make it work. Oh, nukes.
Where's the rest of the team? He's going to get jumped on. Does have a clip shield to buy some time, but Crisis coming over. Dan's charging as well. So much turnaround, but the equalizers come through. MC has made so many good counter guys, but now he's in trouble. Knocked up by the Pulverize, and he's flattened by it. Cries, trying to get him to Fastuchin. Flashes, heals, over the wall, goes slow Q, trying to get out with the onslaught. He shouts as he steals away, but it's a shut down. And JDXL now can start moving on to inhibitors.
Guys, you still need the wave. There's still Nexus turrets to move on, but yes, you're right. They can totally take down this inhibitor now. Even move up towards Baron if they want to play it safer. And I think that is going to be the play indeed. JDXL collapsing, punishing a Riddle that's just not together.
And this is my problem. Riddle have turned around plays. They have challenged XL when they've come to try and control their own jungle. But the objective game, look at the tower discrepancy, look at the dragon discrepancy, now look at the Baron discrepancy. It feels like XL have run the map even if the goal has been close.
Oh yeah, you're completely right about that. It looked close for a second itself. MC was running amok himself. But as soon as he was shut down, dying 2 times in a row, losing all those Darkseals to get stats, that's right, the game really started becoming difficult for Riddle because there was no one driving the game forward any longer. Whereas now for JDXL, multiple members to drive the game forward. Cloud Soul in hand as well, and Cries for sure so goddamn fed on this Akali. Great combo coming in from Kikis, Wing third, and then waiting for the Q afterwards. And Cries, he's just so sped up after ulting the first time with a perfect execution.
Nowhere to go. And for the first time in quite a long time, the counter punch from Riddle doesn't turn into a knockout. It's been a few times where MC, where Slowq have hit a great equalizer into a great hijacked ultimate that's turned around XL's proactive plays. That time it didn't work out. That time it cost them an inhibitor. That time it costs them a Baron. And they are losing semblances of vision. They're losing the ability right now, it feels, to stop the shove. M&S nearly now at 4 items with the stopwatch with the BF sword inventory alongside the Muramana. There's 3 items on Nata, and the siege with the Baron is going to be pretty hard for Riddle to stop.
From just diving here? Honestly, what's stopping Cries from doing this?
Stop, there's a Dark Seal, there's a Zhonya's, maybe. That's what's holding on. The perfect execution was hijacked. But 2 level difference? That is a massive XP lead that Cries can try and bend to his use.
He's going for it. He's going to go for it. He's just waiting. Riftmaker getting stacked up, and while topside is collapsing, bot lane wave is collapsing as well, and this should just be the collapse
Han's just here, of course.
Of the inhibitor turrets as well.
There's no level 16. There's no way to really rapidly switch ultimates right now for Slowq. Yes, you've got a perfect execution. There's no way of stealing the onslaught of shadows for the absolutely easy escape. And 3rd inhibitor falls. XL about to break the base. Riddle, what can you do? Can you solve this problem? Live up to your namesake, because this is your last chance. Here we go. Zamalek flashing out, but it's Kickers who start with down, who apologize, who's stunned in place. Kickers into the backside, goes in. M&S makes it a 1-for-2 as the turnaround for Kex is there, and maybe, just maybe, they can hold on in the 3v4 until Cries delete Slowq. One of your major damage dealers is gone. The Nexus towers are dead. XL trying to play this one out as M&S down to no HP. The stopwatch not there. Can Riddle hold on? Down to nothing, and finally, XL will tie up they've still got a chance for top 2.
They definitely still has that chance for top 2, and it will all come down to X7 in our last game of the day later. Not next game, actually. We keep the action coming.
Are you not entertained?
I am definitely entertained. It was quite messy. I don't think that's an early game. JDXL is happy about playing against the likes of Riddle, but nonetheless, their mechanical prowess is still showing once we reach that mid-game, and Cries, I mean, we see him quite often on the lesser picks, but this time around on the Akali completely showed up.
Fantastic stuff. Challenged on the micro, but the macro still reigns supreme. XL still looking for top 2. We'll cut to a break. We've got interviews, and then after that, it's Veneer versus Nariki. Go absolutely nowhere.
We are on the third game of the day, and the top of the standings are still not decided on last day of split. This is how close it is in the NLC. The top of the standings will be decided on the last game between X7 and Astralis, so you cannot miss a single game from Week 9, Day 2. But this is the after game of JDXL versus Riddle, where JDXL took Riddle down on this best of one. It was a tough game for both teams, but I want to start with Riddle. I want to start with Nukes, who played Leona this game, to understand a little bit more about what happened. It was a close one, Nukes. Welcome back, by the way. And can you tell me, how important was this game to you?
I mean, it wasn't important in terms of Like, I mean, we said it was, but it doesn't really change. Like, maybe if we won against them, then someone would, I don't know, whoever gets third would not pick us. But I mean, at least from me, like, the match was a lot better than last time. But playing against this team, it almost feels like playing against LEC team for me, at least. Especially MNS, I feel like this guy is just way too good.
He is on a level that is really hard to conceive what is happening. But I understand, yeah, if you guys took down JDXL, you would force them to third place, and then they would have to pick a team to play against. So to me, that was like a message, okay, you can pick us, but we already defeated you once, we can do it again. So yeah, now looking into playoffs, you guys are locked in, you guys are fine. Someone will pick you or the fifth team for the first matchup. Who do you want to play against?
I don't want to play JDXL again. That's all I know. Like,
hey, that's an answer.
yeah, I don't care who we play. Just don't play them.
Would you rather play X7 than JDXL?
Absolutely.
Okay, interesting. Now, looking into the entire split before we move on into playoffs, can you give me like a summary of what do you think went well for Riddle? What do you think it could have been better for Riddle? I'm doing this question for all the players, so you can guys give me your spirit, like your justice of what you think happened throughout the split.
I mean, I would say before the split started, our scrims were good. Then the split started. Our scrims are not that good, and then we did not win a lot of games. And I would even say that our scrims are still like meh. Like, I've been in some teams that we are stopping scrims and some that are like kind of bad or something, or meh. But I would say that scrim results don't matter that much. But I mean, I would say we're like 4, 5, or 6 place still. Like, I don't see us being third. Like, we still need to improve. I feel like we're not there yet.
And you don't have a lot of time until playoffs. Do you think you guys can fix what you need to be fixed until then?
I think we can come up with some solutions, yeah. Like, maybe we can use some easy to play comps or something, and we can fix our problems. Like, maybe then we can get like third or second even, who knows.
Maybe that's the answer, man. Maybe that's the answer. Nukes, thank you so much for this interview, and good luck setting up for playoffs. I'll see you soon.
Thank you. Bye.
Playing versus JDXL feels like almost playing an LEC team. This is a good sentence coming in from Nukes, and it is always straightforward, so you know he was telling the truth. Eminez is a beast. Cry playing with the Akali was a monster as well. JDXL were hungry for that second spot, but they did all they could throughout the entire split. And now it's up for the last game of the day. Astralis versus X7. If X7 take down Astralis, it is going to be X7 by JDXL and then Bifrost. If it's Astralis win, XL go to third seat. So who knows what's going to happen. And now to talk more with JDXL side, I have Kickers. Hello, welcome.
Yeah, what's up?
It is a rough day. It is a tough one for math as well. So we're trying to understand where you guys are going to end up. X7 as well. Bifrost, how do you feel this game went?
I mean, it was fine. It was a bit slow from our sides. I mean, obviously, I'm really mad about the combo, which was pretty weird. But yeah, overall, like Felix, so Christ just kind of 1v9, so I guess there was not much to do.
Was this closer than you expected, or was it fine for you guys?
I guess, yeah. We kind of try to hold ourselves to a higher level, especially like if we want to like win playoffs or like get high on new masters. So, I mean, the game wasn't so good from us, but I guess we won, so.
Looking into the big scene now, JDXL is at risk of being kicked to third seed if X7 loses versus Astralis. How are you feeling with that situation?
I mean, it's not really up to us, right? So, I mean, we can just sit and watch. It was up to us before, and we screwed up by losing like 2 important games, which if we won, we wouldn't be in this situation, and maybe we would even be like first place. So, yeah, like rules are like this. So I just hope X7 are not gonna end the game because they should win.
It's going to be a tough game. X7 versus Astralis. Astralis has to do a lot versus X7 to see if they can take that one. But looking into playoffs, can you tell me where do you think you will end up in? Third seed, first spot, second spot in the playoffs?
I wouldn't be here if I didn't think that we're gonna be first place. That's kind of like what everyone would say, but of course I believe it. So.
The team is proving themselves now and forward, and the Champions Select seem a little bit more stable than the usual, a little bit more to the meta side. Are you guys adapting now to the meta? And okay, we have to be secure, we need to play safe from now on, with a little bit of cheese, obviously, but do you feel like the meta is now taking control of JDXL?
We just play what we think is strong. Like some of our drafts didn't go as planned or like as well, but I don't think it was really up to like off meta picks or anything. I think it's actually good that like people won't really know what we will play all the time, and it was more to like the team comp not really like mashing together or just us not playing well. But yeah, we will just pick what we think is good, I guess.
Okay, we'll see what happens in the playoffs. Good luck to you all. I don't know where you guys are going to end up. It's going to be decided at the last game today. So you did what you could. The team provided with a lot of shows for us in the NLC. Thank you so much for this interview, Kickers, and I'll see you soon.
Yeah, thank you very much.
There you go, JDXL taking the W versus Riddle, a really important game for JDXL. They needed to win this one if they wanted to go into the first seed battle, the second seed battle. This is what I'm going to talk about. And I know I have someone with me after this game. It was the game of the week. It was a special one. It is Trouble again.
Hello.
We need to talk about this.
I would love to talk about this because there were implications, soft implications for both teams. For Excel, of course, they need to lock in the top 2 spot, and it was so important for them to win this game. Now, if Riddle won this game, then that would push Excel possibly to 3rd place. And because we said most likely the 3rd place is gonna pick to play against Riddle, Riddle would also send a message by beating them here. That wasn't the case. I felt like the execution was a little bit iffy from the side of Riddle. They had the tools, but that one dive from MC on the top side of the map, where he gave one more kill to the Akali, I think it sort of helped a little bit Cry to snowball the game. And also the Akali on the side lane who's going to stop her. Leona could not necessarily roam too much. You got to stay around your Jinx. So every time they tried to like gang up on the Akali without the Leona there, yeah, there's a clip with a 1v3 that I don't want to see ever again.
It is a sight to behold, and another one to give us, okay, JDXL as Eminence in the mid lane, it is a tough opponent, it is. But Cryze is a beast as well. You look into the bot side, they have beasts as well. JDXL is a multi-threat team, and this is just a showcase of that in the way they play around it. I think MC did a really good job, as you were telling us. I agree with that. That dive was the seal.
I feel like MC was pretty much everywhere this game.
Yeah.
You would go in the mid lane, MC was there. Eminence would get a solo ball, MC would punish. Cryze would get a solo ball in the top lane, MC would punish. I feel like Damaris is something where he's like, the Rumble was locked in a little bit too early, and I do agree with that, and especially with Diana in the mix, where she's definitely above a tier from the Rumble. You had other ways to go, but again, it's MC's Rumble, not any other Rumble, and I felt like had they played more together the fights, you can't necessarily go to a side lane versus the Akali, because you see all the follow-up that there is here with the Alistar and the Hecarim. I felt like actually the draft from Riddle was pretty good. You've got the Gangplank to stop the Aphelios from advancing, to stop the Jace from advancing, to very immobile carries in the backline. You've got the Rumble to reach these carries in the backline once the Cannon Barrage has been laid down. You've got Silas that can still Akali ult to dash to your backline and finish someone off, Hecarim ult where he can do the same, or still Alistar ult and survive the entire fight. And also you have to see 1, 2, 3 carries, all super squishy, which means Equalizer would have a huge impact, Cannon Barrage would have a huge impact, but we don't live in a wonderland, and 5v5s don't always occur, especially when that Akali is 10-0. That is a very dramatic zoom in but it was just as dramatic as that Cry's performance.
Obviously, this puts JDXL in the place that they want to be in, and it's up to the last game, X7 versus Astralis, to see who's going to be the top seed of the entire split. So we need to talk about this. X7 wins versus Astralis, their first seed.
Yep.
And then JDXL will take it up. If X7 loses...
Let's give an explanation of what's happening right here. So all three teams, as it stands right now, are tied in the same points. If X7 wins against Astralis, which is something that is expected due to the performance of Astralis in the second half of the split, then X7 is 1 point above Bifrost and XL. So this is X7, this is XL, and this is Bifrost. So we forget X7 because they've locked in first, and then Bifrost and XL has a 2-0 record over Bifrost, which means they overtake them, which means Bifrost gets knocked down to third place. If that is not the case, if Astralis pull out a miraculous win versus X7, then the whole book gets shuffled. Bifrost takes first place because they've had the most wins in the second half of the split, and then it's between XL and X7, but X7 have the 2-0 head-to-head with XL, which means XL gets pushed down to third place. So that last game has so many implications, I'm sorry, for the top seeds. Because again, the top two teams, one best off away from locking EU Masters. Below the top two, you cannot afford to lose because you get knocked out.
It is Astralis with the option to take the throne from the Kings. It's not even them fighting for the playoffs, but they can remove X7 from the throne. But that's not the game we're going to watch. It is going to be Veneer versus Nuriki. It's going to be a fun one, and I'll see you soon after this break.